One, two, hey folks, we're live. It is Friday. We're doing some more game dev. Getting pretty close, I think, to being happy with the basics of this game. There's a little bit more tweaking, I think, and then we'll start making some structured kind of levels with it. But I hope you've had a good week. Welcome in. I usually do game dev on Wednesdays and Fridays. So if you're new here, welcome in, and hope you enjoy the game dev. And make sure you come back every Wednesday and Saturday, every Wednesday and Friday. If you're enjoying game dev, if you like chilled games, co-op games with the gang, is on Mondays. So yeah, come back then if you enjoy that. But for today, we are doing some more game dev on my serial game, which I've decided to actually call Revolt Overthrow. Take that as an instruction or just a fun game, however you wish to go with that. It's about throwing rocks at the buildings of the more privileged in society, I suppose, if you want to see it in that kind of way. But you are basically a villager who is really unhappy with the lord of the land, and you kind of just want to throw rocks at the house. Kind of punk in some ways. We like punk. So I'll switch over to the game and show you what we have going on. Now we got the power sort of bar on Wednesday sorted out. We do need to get this launch button. If we want to keep the on-screen controls, we need to get this launch button doing the same as the space bar now. So we've got to do that really. I would like when you actually complete the level, actually have the text a bit bigger on the screen. So you're kind of like, well done, you completed the level. Obviously level complete I can actually make as a graphic. The time on the other hand is a value, it is a piece of data. So I could do with having that just bigger on the screen. And then probably setting up a tiered kind of scoring as to how quickly you complete the level. We need to improve the UI systems and all this. But as far as the gameplay goes, I think we're nearly there. And once we're happy with the gameplay, then we can start doing additional levels and more mechanics, which is fun. So let's have a look at this launch button. This launch button it is on the canvas. And it's under game controls, I think it is, yeah, launch button. And the launch button is running the launch rock script, so we need to have a look at that. But before we do, let's get some music on the go. Let's fill the void with some nice bit. Oh, what's Twitch got for me here? Start collaborating from Stream Manager. It's really pushing. Let's add the panel. Collaboration panel, where should I put that? Probably stick that about there. For how many new viewers I get? Probably, no, I want my chat down there. Yeah, so the amount of people that follow or raid or host, I don't tend to get as many, so let's reduce that there. And the chat I'm monitoring elsewhere, so permissions, favorites, follows, affiliates, partners, collaboration settings. Yeah, sounds about right. Pause collaborations on your channel. Nah. I'm happy with that. Oh, I could put it down there actually. Collaboration. Let's put it next to. Can we put it under here? Oh, don't fill up that much of the screen. Let's make my chat window a bit bigger. I'm bound to have more people chatting when we have following or hosting. Favourites, have any adding collaborators yet? Cool, your favourites, awesome. And let's have a look for interesting, I've not got Koteka Kamori as a VIP. According to that. Weird. Okay, so I've got my collaborators there. Cool, I've got my favourite collaborators in case I wanted to do co-streams or whatever Twitch calls them now. So that in there. Let's get some music going now. Make sure that's muted. That's muted, bring it up. Make sure that one's muted. And of course restream. Awesome, looking very sharp on restream. That's quite cool. Music, let's get some nice tunes on the go. Yeah, I hope you've had a good week. My week has been pretty eventful, but nothing too drastic. Hip hop winter vibes, stress relieving music. Let's make sure that's coming out the right speakers for starters. Yeah, there we go. Nice, some nice relaxing music. Let's play the game how it is for a sec, just to see how it goes. But options, let's turn down the music. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. We quite need to have these buttons as a hold, I'd say. See if I can change that as a hold, as opposed to a single click, because the launch won't work otherwise. It needs to be a held button. So rather than a non-click, can we add an on-hold? Is there such a thing? Button. Navigation automatic. Visualize. Show navigation flows between selectable UI elements. Yeah. Color tint interactable. Yes. Disable color. Fade. Let's have a quick Google. We like a quick Google. Unity UI button on hold. There we go. Can we do? How do I make button respond to touch and hold features? That sounds like what I would like. Public void on update selected based data. I've got some UI buttons in my game. Now they work perfectly when clicked. Human! Hey Jeffrey, how's it going, dude? Hope you've had a good week. It's good to see you. Hope you're enjoying your Friday as well. I've got those files for you. I worked out the move up and down movement as well, so that's in the new code file, so I'll make sure I send those over before tomorrow. I'm a knight. Nice, you've been knighted. Is that in Kingdom Come Deliverance? I knight ye, Sir Colt. I suppose you have to. Is there a progression in the game where you get to the point where you earn your knighthood? Because I suppose that's pretty cool. You actually work towards that. When pointed down, you want to hold the event. Okay. One pointed down. Pointed down event. So let's look a bit more into that. Hi Southern Moats. Hey Lisa, how's it going? Hope you are well and had a good week. Hope school wasn't too stressful. UI selectable on pointed down. I think that's the thing I want. I want to turn a click button to a held down button. I like your flannel top. Oh, thank you. I like it. I did wear it on. Did I wear it on Wednesday? I did, but I literally wore it for the stream on Wednesday, and then took it off again. So I thought, you know what, I'll wear it again. It's very cool. It's huge though, huge. Like, this was a top I wore before I lost my weight, so it's massive. But it's nice and comfortable because it's a nice baggy shirt, and I like baggy shirts. So how do we make a button a hold button? So your event systems. So public void on pointer down, pointer event data. This dot game object dot name plus was clicked. Okay, so that's just saying click the button. Doesn't really help me much there. Required interface when using pointer down methods. So it needs to inherit I pointer down handler. Okay, so anything else? I suppose to be able to drag stuff would be interesting. What time will you be ready with lunch, do you think? So oh well, I will be eating before 1 o'clock your time, I'd say. So I should be ready for 1 o'clock your time. If you want to do that, or we can do a bit later or a bit earlier. Whenever you're ready, I shall work around that. I have a my eye test appointment in the morning. Yeah, 9:45 in the morning for me, and that's not going to be any more than an hour. So probably quarter to 11 So I'll come home and I'll eat. So between 11 and 12. So yeah, should be fine. 1 p.m. my time, and yeah, we're waiting for that. I'll let you know if I'm going to be late, but I'll make sure I'm ready for then. So yeah, I should be home by 11 o'clock. Should be able to eat, and then be here and do some more stuff. I said I'll send over the script files. As I worked out the movement slowly up and down, which is quite cool. I like it. Took a little bit of tweaking, a little bit of thought, but I've got it where it will float up and down now, whereas it was kind of like rapidly flapping everywhere. But I managed to just kind of like float up and down around the screen. So I think that it should look how you'd like it now. And we'll get you back up to speed. Won't take very long. The coding is the longest part, along with the artwork, but you've got the artwork, you've got the music. Arranging stuff is going to be pretty quick. So that shouldn't be too bad at all. I think probably the longest thing will probably getting your background video thing working again. That'll be just something to consider. Let's quickly scan through this YouTube video. Event trigger. So we add an event trigger. Pointed down. Okay. Okay, some interesting stuff we can do with that. Let's try that. So, event trigger, pointed down event. So let's try that. So rather than on click, add component, event trigger, add event type, pointed down, add script. Ah, okay, cool. Be right back, Animal Time. Okay, we'll see you shortly. So rock launch dot launch rock. So where's that rock launch? Ozzy wants food. Okie dokie. I'll see you shortly. Feed the Dark Lord. He demands sacrifice. Cannot be late. He will get angry. Yes. Damien gets angry if you're not early. He shouts, "Hey, human! It is at least 1 hour prior to my feeding time. Where are you?" If you're not 1 hour early, you are late. So launch rock. Launch rock. So throwing force and rock. So let's have a look at keyboard. So that's basically just straight off just doing that. But we don't want it to do that anymore, do we? We want it to do... We want it to power up, so we want it to kind of loop around and do this kind of thing. And then the launch rock. So that's only taking the input keys. Where's the actual powering up launch rock? Oh, that's good. Get key space. Okay. So if it is reset, get key space. So we need to make this a little bit more universal. Now, is it going to consistently do it? It needs to kind of... it's going to have to... As long as the key is being held down, like the button's being held down, it needs to have a true event. And then while true, then do the thing. So rather than input get key, it needs to be a true statement in here, which can be set by the input key, or set by the on-screen button. So I could put a variable in here. Let's go public boolean power key held equals false. And power key held goes into there. And there's power key held there. So that now becomes a universal thing. So as long as that is reset and the power key is held, do that. But I suppose I can do power button, I suppose. So do another one here. So I don't want them overwriting each other, you see. So power button held equals false. So we have two options here. So if the power key is held or the power button. So or is pipe. So this this symbol here is called pipe. So you type pipe means or. So if power key held or power button held, then do this. Now how do we trigger that? So we want it to actually influence this bit of code and say that the power button is held. So we probably just need a public function down here, public void hold power button, and that will just be power button held equals true. No, not transform, true. Now I can run that externally then, but is it, as long as it's held, it's got to run that function. Because otherwise it'll say it's true, but it won't reset it. So we go false there. Now I have to understand how, because I want it to be able to reset to false. Let's wait for it to do its thing, compiling domains and whatnot. So rather than launching the rock, it doesn't do anything now. But it will go keyboard controls. So keyboard controls. Hold power button. So we're going to set it to false. So I kind of need it as a, probably another event, don't I? So I have two events, so on held and on mouse up, maybe. So add a new event type, pointer up. Let's do it this way. Could it say UI rather than a key? So hold power button, public void release power button, and that will just set it as false. Save that. And drag keyboard controls into there. Release power button. Okay, let's save this. Now we can have a look at the left and the right, doing the same thing then. I think we have a winner. Cool. Let's get the left and right buttons sorted. So in theory, as long as this game's not too demanding, I can then compile it for mobile and use the on-screen controls, which would be pretty cool. So let's do the same thing here. So you have MoveX, which is MoveX is greater than 0, MoveX is less than 0. So it's basically reading a joystick. So context.readValueVector2 is reading a joystick. And of course with a joystick, you move it to the left, you're basically going negative. Going to the right, you're going positive, and if you move it up, you go positive. If you move it down, you go negative. So the joystick, as far as game values are concerned, is adding a positive or negative number to the X and a positive or negative number to the Y, and sort of that allows you to then determine where you want to kind of move something. Which is the same as a mouse. When you move a mouse, it's basically adding or taking away from the X and the Y. So that's what this is doing. It's kind of reading your keys as a joystick. But rather than having an increasing number, it's just a set number of maximum up, down, left and right. So we want to do something very similar. So move input. So let's do a public void let's go hold left button, and we'll make a different one, public void hold right button. Probably release as well, I suppose. Let's do a release. So we got hold left button. So we go public void release left button, and one into here. Public void release right button, then we can just tap into what's already there, which is move input. So hold left button, we make that equals -1. Release. I suppose we don't need to release left or right, could it just be equals 0 on both occasions? Oh, it's X, isn't it? Yes. Dot X. Dot X. What would you call it? Release direction, I suppose. Release direction button. We don't need to duplicate that then. And to make life a little cleaner on this, we'll cut that and put it above. So we've got hold left, hold right, release direction button. Copy and paste that there. Just make that a 1. Save that. So we've got rotate left. Ah, so this is interesting. So we've got pivots involved as well here. But then the left and right's doing it anyway, isn't it? With the camera rotate left, camera rotate right. So yeah, so we should be fine. Take those away. We have an event trigger on the pointer down. And we go keyboard controls, function, keyboard control, hold left, add event, pointer up. I like how it puts keyboard control in there for you, that's quite good. Release direction button. I'm assuming it probably makes the guess that if you're running something from this function, you're going to want to do an opposite function, which makes sense. Very smart. Let's remove those. Add component, trigger system, add event, pointer down. New one, adds keyboard control to that. Keyboard controls, hold right, new event, pointer up, and keyboard control release direction button. So hit save on that. So we run the game. I should be able to hold these buttons rather than clicking them. Nice. That feels so smooth. How's that compared to keys? Yeah. The controls feel as smooth as the keyboard now. That is so much nicer. You can just use the mouse to play. So we can make sure this works on mobile. This could be a fun little mobile game as well as a PC game. When I say mobile, I mean kind of Android, because I don't have Mac hardware to make an iOS version. And it's a bit harder with iOS. Hey Nix, thank you for the hearts. Welcome back. We now have on-screen controls that are smooth as the keyboard. Just click and hold. So just obviously need to make these buttons a bit nicer to look at. The main thing is, yeah, you have to very gently tap if you want a slight movement. Oh, we've got only a couple more to find. 3 more. Two more. That's complete fluke. I didn't even know that was in there. Yeah, I suppose mechanics then, as far as the general gameplay goes, within the current scope of how things are, would be to change the sounds of the rock depending what the rock is. So if the rock is a chicken, it's not going to make a crunchy stone sound. It's going to make a sound of a chicken hitting a wall. So that is something I need to consider. So the sound effect has to be loaded when you select the rock. And that's got to kind of load into a setting somewhere to say current rock is a chicken, current sound effect for the rock is screaming chicken. I'm not sure what a plush panda would sound would make. You probably have to assume that it's got a squeaker in it, or probably the sound of a something soft's being squished, which isn't a very notable sound. Is it just that top corner that I'm missing? It is. Did that completely with mouse controls. That's pretty cool. And of course the mouse controls disappear, but the keyboard controls are still active. Okay. So, I think at this stage we can probably delete the bard, because he's, unless I'm using him as a placeholder, but I can bring in any NPC I want. I don't necessarily need this bard. The fact he falls over doesn't really fill me with confidence. So I can put him in there. Because I think it's because I've got a, is it the type of, he just kind of ragdolls and falls over. I can try and hit him though. No, it's too close. I suppose, like, as far as unlocking the chicken goes, I could have the chicken walking along at one point, and if you do hit the chicken, you unlock the chicken. So I do need to have the reasons to unlock certain things, and also the actual menu. I want it to not to show these, but not to be able to select them until you've unlocked them. So I need to have a status of like unlocked, true or false. If locked false, then show the black silhouette of them. If unlocked is true, then show the colour one. Back, welcome back. Ah, he is back once again. And it would be quite nice for the crate, I suppose, to fall apart, but that's going to be a bit of extra work. Because I would need to have an asset which looks just like the crate, but it's made up of 6 individual smaller assets that are held together in one asset. And at the point of it hitting, changing the thrown asset of a solid crate into the asset where the sides just kind of tumble, that they're not being held together, they're just there. So I'd have to go into Blender for that. But then immediately change it back to the whole crate. So you have to have a switching. I suppose the same with the chicken. Or the crate that you're throwing is actually made up of 6 individual panels, but I have an animation that when you hit it, it triggers the animation of it moving, and then when it resets, it shows back to the starting point of the animation as a whole crate. So the animation is just moving the parts, but then it goes back to frame 0, and then when it hits activate, fall apart. Probably the same with the chicken. The chicken can have an animation where it probably flaps its wings, maybe. So that might be an easy way of doing it, actually having the crate made of 6 parts, and when it detects that it's hit the wall, play animation, crate falling apart. It'd be the same with like the rock. If the rock kind of does something, like the default rock, when it hits, I can play an animation and maybe a couple of bits of rock falling away and looking smaller, like it crumbles a little bit. Because there's already crumbles coming off the building, but that's the building. That's the building being chipped away. When you hit it, those little stone bits that come away from it are coming away from the building. That's to say, well, the building's been hit, it's crumbling. As opposed to the rock actually disintegrating. Okay. So what should we look at now then? So I've got the on-screen controls working. I might be able to do the locked, unlocked projectiles. Let's delete the bar. The bar's been there for so long, but he's never done anything. Put him in there because I want to gauge what a human would look like. To be honest, the bell tower doesn't really need to be there. It's just decoration. It's not part of the whole thing. So let's delete that. Let's get a bit more serious with this. So, because I need to kind of redesign this a little bit. In fact, this may not even be the first. Well, I suppose it's probably best to be the first level. But I could. And grab these hedges here. It's a variant of the hedge. Let's put all these hedges together actually. Duplicate. Just have a hedge. Duplicate again. have a quick look at what that looks like within the game concept. Looks a little bit sparse over there. I'll probably need something, probably some more of these trees placed around. Yeah, I need to do a bit more designing, but what it actually looks like is immaterial because all the game functionality is based around this building. But I don't want to confuse the player by having a building which isn't part of it. So the bell tower could be part of a later level, but right now we don't really need that. So the tree. Now the trees could be a bit better because I've got the whole. I've got code and stuff on there, haven't I? Have I got code on there? Oh yeah, I got tree code. Yeah. So I can add a few more trees. Behind the hedge here. Something along those lines. That one can probably just move over this way a little bit more. This makes it look a little bit more of a realistic kind of environment, I suppose. The fun part becomes just placing stuff, because once you worked out, okay, how does a tree react, then all trees react the same. Well, that's interesting. The rock's kind of perched just on the. Maybe I need to put a bit of space between the tree and the hedge. Because that rock is just sat on the hedge. Let's change to a panda so you can actually see it properly. It's a panda sat on the hedge. Sure, I've got a timeout on that. That should stop it from getting stuck somewhere. I'll have to check that. Okay, so a little bit of space there, so it shouldn't get stuck on there now. But yeah, have a look at the projectiles, the rocks being unlocked. Over the hills and far away. There'll be bonuses for hitting multiple trees with one throw. Can't quite hit the other one. And ricochet off the hedge into the trees. Okay. I'm happy this environment looks a little bit more realistic. For now, at least. So let's have a look at the projectiles menu then. Let's reveal it so we can see it. Oh, that's the old one. Not projectiles menu, it's projectile select. No, not projectile select. Selection, projectile selection. Now, rather me placing the images in here, I think I probably need a bit of code, don't I? So a bit of code in the projectile selection menu. I'm just going to be right back a sec, and I will continue with this. So 2 seconds, won't be very long. Welcome back. Get this hair back in the right place. Okay, so I'm thinking we need to have some code, a script behind this this button. Ooh, got the Aussies. That's a cool emote. I like it. Yeah, I'm thinking I need some script on here and load all the buttons into it. And then I can set the buttons the right kind of image. So placement of the buttons, obviously I can have as they are, but then have the images loaded into the main panel. Yes, that's a new script. So this could be projectile selection script. Unless we've already got one like that. The main menu, play control. Yeah, let's make one. Create script and call this project file. Text is a bit small. I think I can just projectile selection. Let's call it projectile selection. Projectile selection. Cool. Let it do its thing. Just has to compile the whole thing without actually doing any additional coding. Yeah, reload it in. It's not added anything to the game. So the only annoying thing with this is that you make a script with absolutely nothing in it. And it has to go through the motions. But I suppose like it's just kind of a routine. Okay, so we attach the script up here now. And at the moment we've got eight buttons. That was a bot, yeah. Distracted by Kingdom Come, that's alright. What did you do today? What did I do? Well, on here or just generally? Well, I went to work, came home, ate, and then on here. You're allowed to tell both if you want. Thank you. Today at work I just did some more work, and I kind of our clocking in system for like swiping your card and stuff. Updated all the code across all the machines, so that was cool. And on here, I've got it so the on-screen buttons work like the keyboard now. So you don't have to keep clicking. You just click and hold and release, like you do on the keyboard. So that should make it as easy to, if it will work on mobile, it would be just as easy to play on mobile as it is on the computer. But I need to do a test. So after probably do it over the weekend, I might compile it into an Android friendly version and then test it on my mobile. Could be fun. But I need to make those buttons bigger, because on a mobile screen you'd barely be able to see them. What we're doing now though is I want to be able to say that any of these items that you can throw are either unlocked or locked. Because I don't want the player to have access to all these from the get-go. I want them to work for them. Like the chicken, for instance. Maybe there's a chicken eating some seed or something over here, or the grass, and if you hit the chicken, you unlock it as a projectile. It's an optional thing. Maybe the barrel is hidden behind a tree or something. Maybe the panda is sat somewhere. You know, so that you have to do something to unlock them. So you start off with the rock, and everything else you can use is in the levels, and you unlock them through some kind of activity. But in order to do that, we need to be able to lock them first. So these items here are UI controls, the buttons. So I'm thinking we want to drag these buttons into the script. So the script itself needs to be opened up into here. So start off with some variables. Probably going to need to have UI controls. Hey, all those kitties floating across the screen. So it's unity.ui. Let's just copy that there and drop it into there. So we can start using UI stuff now. I suppose they could be game objects. That's selecting the projectile. So we're already using this. So it's showing, so this is basically on-screen stuff anyway, but I think this, I want this to be more kind of making it available to be used. So this script, the good thing with I suppose it's kind of advised, if possible, that each of your scripts in like general programming as well as game programming is you try and make each individual part as specialized as possible. Like, there's no point in having a piece of script that just does everything. Just yeah, you're just trying to get one script that does everything. You might as well have lots of little scripts that only do one thing. And you know exactly what script's doing what then. You not go, well, I think this script is handling this somewhere, and I don't know where it is, but then it gets confused. So it's better to have a tiny script with one function that only does one thing. As long as you're not doing that one thing multiple times, in which case you can just call that script, I suppose. But yes, it's better to specialize things. Like, this script only deals with this script only deals with that, and it's nice and tidy. You know where things are. So this one, when it starts up, do I need it to do anything when it starts up? Probably, I suppose. It needs to set the buttons. So we'll keep that an update. Don't think there's anything it needs to do on the update, because update is every frame. Nothing will be changing per frame. So I don't think we need update. You can always add it back if we do. But start, certainly start would probably have something. Although I could probably just, start would load. Let's make a public void here anyway. Show unlocked rocks. We'll just put that in there. So when it starts up, it runs that, and then every time the menu's opened, it refreshes it. So we do something like that. So we need some public game object. Yeah, might as well call them as they are. P1 public game object. P2 public game object. P3 P4 P5 P6 P7 and P8. So we can load those in. So before we can do that though, so we can load them into there, that's fine. Did save that, okay. So those can be dragged in. But I'd say each of these would want to have its own script. I can handle it. Although, could I? Maybe not, because I don't need to. I could probably directly call to them. Right, let's put those in there anyway. So each of these individually, I could say what the locked image and the unlocked images, and then all this is doing is determining what is locked and what isn't locked. So that's probably going to be in the settings really. Where am I storing stuff at the moment? Score holder. I suppose it's not even on there, is it? It's a scriptable object, isn't it? Sound volume, there it is. So I need another scriptable object like this one that holds what is locked and what isn't locked. Yeah, so let's create another script. We'll call this unlocked what would this call it? Projectile lock status, I suppose. Projectile lock status. Let's do its thing. Oh, wasn't too bad. Let's open that up. And rather than mono behavior, let's call that a scriptable object. You don't need those. Now this needs to hold the status. So I suppose it'd be public boolean. I suppose it'd be a boolean. P1 let's call it just P1 unlocked. So if it's true, then it's available. P2 P3 P4 P5 P6 P7 P8 P1 unlocked equals true. So new, so that won't actually do anything. Okay, fine. That is fine. So by default, P1 will be unlocked anyway. Now, how do we make it a scriptable object? Oh, we have to make it up here, don't we? Create an empty, call that projectile lock status. Drag that in. Can't, can we? How do we do it? I've forgotten. That's still saying monoscript. Oh, that's monoscript as well. Let's have a quick Google. I've forgotten how you use scriptable objects. Scriptable object, there we are. Attach your previous script to a game object. In your scene, the inspector set the small manager. Yeah, that's not it. I think my brain's not braining very well. Because that's telling me how to do it in the latest version of Unity. Yeah, I think I might have seen this video before. There's something vital in this here. Ah, okay. So you've got sound volume there. Create asset menu. I'm missing that bit. Copy that. Needs to go in there. Cool. There we go. Projectile lock status. That's the one I wanted. Just got tick boxes. So by default, I want that one. And we want the lock status to be in there as well, so let's go to there. We put that right at the beginning. Public status. Save that. And drag in rename it. So projectile lock status goes into there. And we want to be able to set these things depending on this then. So status dot, yeah, so we can grab those values now. So with that information, we will have to change the images. Now, this is where I suppose I could do it per one. Good progress today, kind of. It's making me think about stuff. So have I, same idea as your art project, I need to have 2 images against each of these. So each of these buttons, I want to have 2 images. I want the full color image and I want the silhouette image to show it's been locked. So I could probably do making a script that will hold both images and a little function that will switch them. So let's make another script. And we'll call this one projectile, I suppose. Or projectile button. That's probably a better idea. Projectile button. And in projectile button, we want 2 images. This could be image, source image. Or sprite, it's a sprite, isn't it? That's what I was trying to think. So we have a public public sprite. And we have a locked image and public sprite unlocked image. Oops. Image and we don't need a start or an update. Just need a function public void set button image and have a boolean unlocked so if unlocked then we want to set the sprite now, so it is game object dot get component is it source image? Audio source. Let's go back to here. Or is it just image? Go component sprite. No, it's not that. Sound audio source. What is it I want to get? So a quick Google. We're happy with that. So Unity change button image change button source image in code. So quick look. New sprite, sprite, image, game of find. Not sure why we're finding buttons on this example. No, it's not quite what I'm after. Changing button image and script. That's probably a bit more useful for me. Button.image.sprite equals sprite. What's the button there? My button is gain object, find my button. See if I can get this button, one button to change, and then I'll wrap the stream up. Get component image. Sort of sprite is image. So image is a get component image. But image isn't a image isn't a thing. Or do I have to get it as a button first? So button is get component button. So it should be, do I have to load it as a button rather than a game object? Is that where I'm going wrong? But this is a project button. This is the button. Oh. So I get the button component first. Is that what we need to do? I can't even get button as a component. Might have to have a think about this. It's making my brain fry too much for this time of night. Plus I need to be up in the morning. So let's wrap things up there. And I shall carry on with this. Because once I got that, the whole thing will be pretty easy from there. But thank you for joining us tonight. It's been an awesome stream. Made some progress. Thank you for the stream. We'll talk tomorrow. Yes. I should be ready about 1 o'clock. I'll let you keep you up to date. It was epic. Thank you for the stream. Thank you for being here, Lisa. Yeah, I'm tired. I should have started a little bit earlier, but I wanted to make sure the script was okay for tomorrow. So I'm pretty happy with that. So thank you for being here. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Nix. Thank you, anyone else who's been lurking. All been awesome. I'm going to get some rest now. Hope you do too. And I'll be back on Monday, doing some co-op stuff with all the friendly people. So I hope you have a good rest, have a good weekend, and I shall see you all on Monday. And Jeffrey and Lisa, I will be chatting to you tomorrow. But yeah, until then, hope you have a good night. I'll see you then. Good night.